David, I see you saying, let's start this presentation now. So are you okay if I start
Sure.
off with an
Yeah,
introduction of
let's
you?
go.
All
Yeah.
right. All right. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in this webinar on a beautiful afternoon. We appreciate you taking the time and look forward to having you hear from David and interact with David. David is someone as as a member of the College of Education and Human Ecology, I work in alumni relations and donor relations, and I've had the good fortune of knowing David for the last several years, where he's been a member of the College of Education and Human Ecology's Alumni Society Board of Governors. And in that role, he's actually on the executive committee where he serves as treasurer for the board. So through this, I've gotten to know a little bit about David, and I know from that you are in for a real treat. He, a little bit about David, that information he has supplied is he's traveled all over the United States, helping universities and career colleges and also entrepreneurs make great academic programs. He's actually an alum of the College of Education and Human Ecology, where he earned a Bachelor of Science and Technology education and then a Master of Education in Technology education. He has worked as an instructor. He's worked behind the scenes as an academic administrator and also works in the consulting space, or did in the consulting space as director of academics for a firm that supports colleges and career schools. But most recently, he ended up at Ashland University, and there he's part of a community that um, really puts accent on the individual. He's part of eAshland and the Center for Innovation and Teaching Excellence, and he serves as a senior instructional designer there and an online faculty development manager. He collaborates with educators through workshops, webinars, conference presentations, helping faculty flex their teaching superpowers and showcase their knowledge and expertise. He works on AI, Quality Matters. He works with local high schools and University of Akron's Next conference. He loves design and teaching, and that also extends beyond higher education. He's a co-founder of the AKXS Content Creation Company, where he helps design engaging digital content for individuals and small businesses. This includes online courses, websites, and media projects. And he is supported by his wonderful wife, Carolyn, who he met here at Ohio State in his sophomore year, and his wonderful 11-year-old daughter, who is a cheer and dance Buckeye Youth Spirit Club member. So David has a lot of Buckeye in his bones, and he's here to work with you all today to give you some great content on AI and education. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you. Yeah.
Say one
Thank you,
more
Carrie.
thing. I forgot to
Yeah.
say, I was supposed to say that we have
Yep.
a survey at the end. And please, if you would take time to answer the survey, it would greatly help us improve our programmings to have your feedback. And also, we put a space in the survey where if you want a certificate from us for one contact hour to use towards your CEUs or whatever you need for your professional development purposes, please take a moment to fill that information in. Even if you don't have time to do the whole survey, which is very short, you can at least put that information in and we'll get a certificate to you. All right, back to you, David. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. Hey, thank you, Carrie. All right. I'll try to get going here so we can end at 5, or I hear that Carrie is going to deduct $100 per second as I go over 5 o'clock from our Alumni Society budget. So I'll kind of keep it on cue for you, Carrie. All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining me. I see a lot of good chatter. So if I look up this way, I'm looking at the chat. So Laura, she saw Go Eagles. I see everybody coming from Botswana to Johnstown, from Howard, Grandview, Cincy, and Columbus. I said, I'm up here at Ashland right now. And I appreciate you jumping in the chat. I do need your help today because we're talking about how real teachers can use AI, and we're probably a lot of us are maybe using AI today. And we have a lot of teachers, trainers, K through 12, higher education. Maybe you're out in the corporate world too. I would love to have your input and your feedback and your discussion here in the chat. So please jump in the chat. I think the best way to learn from everybody is to just to peek kind of like what's happening down the hallway or what's happening down the road or in this corner of Ohio or over here in PA and so on. So thank you so much. I see the chat going. Keep it going. Hopefully we get some more good stuff here. I'll try to pause every once in a while so we can kind of take a look at the chat because I would love your input on this. But let's begin here, and we'll get started as we jump into the presentations. Hopefully everybody can see everything okay on the screen. And I just want you to put in the chat if you can. Tell me in the chat. You can put like me if you want to. If one or two of these statements kind of ring true or sound familiar for you. And if you have more than like two, three, four, or five, just put me, because I think I have a feeling that there might be a lot of me's in the chat. So, anyways, put this in the chat if you this sounds familiar. If this sounds like you, you teach, you grade, you advise students, you sit on committees, subcommittees probably too. You write reports for assessments, for accreditations. You prep slides maybe. You answer parent or caregiver emails. Maybe you run office hours. You track makeup work or you try to track down makeup work from your students. Maybe you plan, you do research, you do action studies. You show up for PD opportunities like today, and you go back in the classroom and you rebuild a unit or you rebuild a lesson to match what you learn. Any of these sound familiar? I have a lot of me's, me, all of it. Kelly, Laura says all of it. So what we're finding out is that a lot of us today in the chat, a lot of me's, are people that wear many hats. And as a teacher, as an educator, as a trainer, wear many hats and do a lot of these things. And in the midst of everything that we're doing today is we're kind of stuck in the middle of AI right now. AI just got thrown into the mix and we're trying to handle it from the student's perspective, administrative perspective, our own personal perspective. And then we're also expected to adapt fast, stay ethical, and magically save time or kind of fit in time to learn all about AI or try to police it or try to implement it or try to, develop different PDs about it on top of that, in addition to the me's, all the hats that we're wearing. So what we're hoping today is that the Alumni Society and myself, we've been working together to put together this presentation, and we're going to cover kind of 5 areas or 5 buckets. And again, this is just a drop in the bucket, really, with all the cool AI stuff. So as I go through the stuff that I share from either my classroom, I teach here at Ashland University over in the College of Business currently, and I do some online teaching as well. And I've run into some different professors in different colleges, the College of Arts and Sciences, over in the College of Education. Just from being an instructional designer here at Ashland, is I get to kind of peek into people's classrooms, like to see what's happening behind the scenes or what they really want to work on. So I'm going to share some things that I've done, some of my colleagues have done. And again, in the chat, please share what you've done too, because what I'd like to do is I'm going to try to save the chat here. And if I can share out some of the good ideas, some of the apps we use, some of the websites that we might want to visit, I'll try to share that out with everybody I can as feedback and a follow-up to this presentation. So without further ado, let's jump into the first bucket here. And I want to jump into the first one here. And this is kind of like a big, I'll start with kind of big, broad picture, and we'll kind of dive in a little bit more. But this is really important, even though it's like kind of the humdrum thing to go on. It is creating awareness. And so what you'll see is that you want to start kind of from the high level. So either from federal or state policies. And usually that's going to be like, for us, it's like FERPA, possibly. If you're in higher education, it's going to be FERPA. But in K through 12, you have some more things just because you're using are with younger individuals. So you got the COPPA and some other things too. So we start like high level, and we want to follow those policies. And what happens, those policies will help drive our institutional policies. Now, your institution, your building, your college might have different rules, but like for ours, for example, we have in our undergraduate academic affairs and our graduate academic affairs, our AI policy is worked in with our misconduct of academic misconduct, or in our like cheating, fabrication, plagiarism. So we have an AI component in here. So you'll see our artificial intelligence here that says, using computer resources in a manner that violates university academic policies unless explicitly permitted by the instructor. The submission of AI-generated content as one's original work is such a violation. So we have that as our guidance too. And of course, we're working still behind the scenes and figuring out what we want to put into it. Ohio State has some great content. I think you're further along than we are at the moment. But over at your CDLI at Ohio State, they have some great things that I like to borrow and peek into every once in a while, but a lot of great resources about teaching. And so the institution is a great pillar for information that could help us in our classroom. So always want to start like at the state level, federal level, jump down to our institution where there might be policies. This one is I think yeah, this is the College of Arts and Sciences. I like peeking in here too. And they have like examples of what counts as AI, what counts as the use of AI, examples of where AI could be permitted. So I like all those examples. So those examples just might be in your own institution. If not, jump over to, to Google Ohio State AI or some other institution. You kind of see a lot of good content up there at the institutional policy level. And what I like about that is I take those policies and I help drive those policies into my classroom syllabus. Because what I find out is that students might not be aware of what is good, what is bad, what can I do, what can I do. And so I'm very explicit as I go through all my fun syllabus information here. And then I just have actually a section here on my artificial intelligence policy. And I go, what's okay, what's not okay, and I just tell them to be transparent with me. I teach, this one is a information technology course, so kind of like Microsoft Office and being, being good stewards in security and data management and using websites and AI now in a good way. And so we cover a lot of things. So I'm pretty open about like, hey, you can use it because we're going to try to use it in a good way. We're trying to get experience using it. I have students who've never used it before who show up as sophomores, freshmen, even sometimes juniors who I've never used it. I just too worried to use it, and they're very happy to like have someone guide them through it. So I tell them, hey, this is what's okay, this is not okay. Be transparent, and I kind of just lay it out for them. So I think being transparent and creating this awareness from the top down can be very, very helpful. Working through QM, they've helped me develop some of these policies into certain activities. So this is an assignment in one of my online classes that I teach. And you'll see down here, not that you have to know what the assignment's about, but I do have a how to uphold academic section on all my assignments so they know exactly if they can or cannot on this particular assignment. So I think between my syllabus and then sometimes in my classes where it tells me that, okay, brainstorming with AI tools is fine, but disclose it briefly. Consulted with ChatGPT to outline ideas on August 7th, 2025 was the example I put in there. But I say make sure every sentence is your own. You're not copying and pasting it. Don't use past work. So it's almost like a full academic integrity kind of heads up on my assignment. But it's also, I drop in the AI because I think that's so important because I still have students who are worried, what can I do? What can I do? Because remember, in my class, it might be okay. But when they leave my class and they go to their next class, it might not be okay. And so they're still trying to juggle this. It's still early. So I'm trying to be as transparent as possible and create that awareness so they're crystal clear on what they can and cannot do. So hopefully, you can do the same or borrow some ideas. Like I said, just if you're unsure, a lot of times you're going to have different committees, different organizations. Your IT department are going to be very helpful individuals, helpful groups to kind of steer you in the right direction too as you go and create that awareness in there. So hopefully, again, that's kind of a nice thing. The newer thing for me is doing it on an assignment by assignment level. I've done that for just a semester or so right now, but I've had pretty good feedback of students being like, I just like it in there to make sure it's crystal clear. And I like that. So I just want them to be confident as they go through my assignments, not worry about like, oh, can I use AI? Can I use that? I want them to focus on like the actual thing they're supposed to learn on instead of all like being confused or apprehensive on stuff that they shouldn't be apprehensive about. So that's kind of the way I kind of create that awareness and what some of the other professors and adjuncts here take on the classroom policies. And they're all over the sun of like, can you use it and not use it? Sometimes it's, entry level English, probably not so much. Higher level classes, you probably can in brainstorming. So it all depends. And we're still wading through it here at Ashland University. And hopefully you're trying to figure it out too. I think we're all in the same boat, trying to feel it out and seeing which one is the best course of action. I don't know what it is yet, but we're definitely trying. And I think going from federal, institutional, classroom, and then assignment makes it pretty crystal clear if you're one of my students that you know when you can and when you can't use it. And hopefully you can do the same thing there. So I want to go one more level deeper because then it comes upon us now. So we got, maybe my classroom, but now it's about us. It's me. Can I be aware of AI? So I just copied this kind of summary that went out with this webinar, and I need you to tell me in the chat, do you think this is AI written or not AI written? And you could just say AI or not in the chat. I want to kind of get a temperature of what it is. And again, this is just came out, it's been out there for a while. Maybe as you read it, you go, hey, that sounds funny. Or maybe you read it and you're like, that's no problem at all. Or maybe like this part sounds funny. Maybe it's half written or not half written. So I'll give you a little bit. Laura says AI, Marsha AI, a lot of AIs, yes, AI. I'm guessing yes. Ah, it's going by so fast. Someone's giving me a hint. Perfect. Likely AI half. Perfect. So what spidey sense was tingling that makes you say AI or half AI? I'll tell you right now, it was mostly AI. I've done it on purpose because I wanted to integrate this in here because I think having that spidey sense I talked about is very helpful. And a lot of people in the chat are right on the money. What's the dead giveaway now? It's those M dashes, right? ChatGPT especially loves M dashes, and you see AI isn't coming. M dash, it's already here. Halfway down there. How to guide students towards ethical AI use. M dash, not fear-based avoidance. The real challenge isn't AI itself. M dash, it's the educator. So you see a lot of M dashes. And I also see there, I'm just going to pick a couple because I know I've seen some same answers, but like Libby in there, Libby, you're on the money too. You see bullets. ChatGPT loves putting things in bulleted lists. So they'll put bulleted lists. Sometimes even emojis go in those bulleted lists. So you see dashes. And like that's the funny thing is like sometimes it's actually sometimes hard to write an M dash or like it's just not common. And the funny thing is it evolves a little bit. When we first started, the other instructional designer here and myself went to a local high school here in Ashland, Ohio, and we were talking about, this kind of like the same thing. And before there were certain words. And we were looking at the word like delve. Anybody remember you've seen the word delve kind of like populate a whole bunch? Like, man, everybody's using delve now. Or furthermore. I don't know if you have any more kind of fun words that always pop out, it seems like in AI. But the best thing you can do, and this is just one aspect of getting that spidey sense list of three, is kind of just getting that going like that smells funny when you see that because then not that I want to be the police about, hey, and I put the stick down and this is AI, but I want to help them because I want to say, hey, I don't know if you use AI or not, just based on this one isolated paragraph here, but I'm seeing M dashes. I'm seeing the way it's written. I really think it could be AI. And so you have a talking point with your student to kind of figure out, did they do it by accident? Are they do it nefariously? Is it just something that's how they write? I used to write M dashes before. I'm a comma splicer and M dash user previously. So when I write, sometimes it sounds like AI. This isn't too far off of how I might write it in anyway. I wouldn't use it that many M dashes, but seeing those M dashes and seeing those other things, there's a couple other things that are current today. And again, this will change. So if you watch this a couple months from now, there might be new things. Like I said, Delve used to be really popular, not so much now. Furthermore was always, instead of using, but or however, say furthermore. And I'm like, wow, why is it? Man, furthermore sounds a lot, in these things that I'm reading from my students. I'm like, okay, they're probably using AI. So heavy use of M dash is what your spidey sense can tingle. Another big one is that says it's not just X, it's Y. And if I'm going to go see if I can go back here without messing up my thing. So it's like the real challenge isn't AI itself, it's that educator. It's the real challenge isn't X, it's Y. And you'll see that a lot. So another thing to look out for if you're trying to see, if it's just a game that when you read those emails, like I hope this email finds you well, that's a good one. But if you see emails, you see student work, you see things written sometimes on social media posts or newsletters, I think it's kind of a fun game to go, I think this might be or might not be. And it kind of just trains my muscle a little bit just because I work with students. I just want to make sure they're not accidentally using AI in an inappropriate way, especially in a classroom where, we're assessing their writing and so on. So heavy use of the M dash, which everybody was right on the money. It's not X, it's Y. Emojis used as bullets or titles. We saw like the bolded list. That was a good one. A lot of times you see kind of exaggerated, like flowery language, I call it. Everything is like, it's just so extra over the top when they explain things, right? So you'll see some things there. Definitely keep an eye on the chat. I see a lot of things in the corner catching my eye where I say, yes, emails with best regards, too verbose. There's a lot of good ones. Unwavering. I love all those ones. Those are perfect ones. So we can see. So we have a lot of people who have that spidey sense when you see those things. And the funny thing is, some people might use best regards. It's just that ChatGPT and other AI chatbots use that a lot. And so even though you might use best regards all the time, you might have people going, is David writing, is that email he wrote to me, was that really from him, or did he just put that into AI? Not many eighth graders, says Kathy. That's perfect. Yeah, so you can really tell the language and stuff of ChatGPT if they're doing it fast and quick. And again, this has been pretty consistent, is facts that lack dates, names, or verifiable references. Sometimes it says it's a reference, you click on it and it goes to nowhere. It goes to a 404 error page. It goes to like some just not even the correct article. So you can really tell. Sometimes it's just that visual thing. And again, the chat is on the money today. You guys are on the ball. I love seeing all those different ones. So as I say, what do you see? And a lot of ones I see already. So I'm gonna take a quick, but I'm just gonna go scroll up real quick. There's so many good ones. Flat tone, bullets, dashes, the dashes, sentence structure. That's a good one, Alexander. M dash, the dashes, right? So that's a lot of good ones. So like the bullets, the M dashes. So we're really on it. We can really notice it, right? So this is good. That's really, really good. I love it. All right. So let me go on to the next one here. And this is going to be part two, and this one's called creating feedback. And I think this is important because I really want to create feedback for my students. Right now, I have a class of 30. It's not terrible, but 30 is up there when I have to do some grading. It kind of bogs me down a little bit, but I do want to make sure everybody gets the appropriate type of attention and the feedback and the advice that I can give from the student that I start with number 1 to number 30 when it's late at night. And so what I've seen here and other places too is that we can use ChatGPT to create some feedback. And first it starts with a rubric. Now, before I jump in the rubric, I wanna just point out that there is a good or better way to write prompts. I don't know if anybody has done any prompt engineering before. You can definitely say, create a rubric that assesses a research paper. Hit enter. You probably get something that's okay, right? But we want to make something that's a little bit better, like something that's not okay, but it's like right on the money of what we're looking for. And if you could follow these kind of four steps or 4 parts of a prompt, you probably will get better results. And so if you haven't done this before, I do challenge you to try this out, maybe during the presentation, but maybe afterwards or sometime this week or over the weekend, is to, one, give your AI prompt, give your AI a persona, give it what you need, add additional details, and then specify the output format if needed. So usually it's those 3. I put 4 just I think 4 helps sometimes because sometimes you don't get the results you're looking for. So you might have to specify the output format. Like I don't want bullet lists, I want a paragraph or something. And just to make this make more sense, let's take it into a step of where I want to create a rubric. So when I say give it a persona or be detailed a little bit, instead of just saying create a rubric for a reflection paper assignment, say you are an experienced high school English teacher. I always put you're a world-class English, high school English teacher. You are a comm teacher teaching undergraduates at a Midwestern university. Whatever it might be. If you get a persona, you typically get a little bit better answer and you get what you're looking for typically. So I say you're an experienced high school English teacher preparing to design a rubric for a reflection paper assignment. Then I give it what it needs. Create a detailed rubric for a reflection assignment. The rubric should evaluate the introduction, the main paragraph, and a conclusion. Let's just something real simple at the moment now. And so I'm giving it a little bit extra detail because the better you give the prompt, the better stuff that comes out. The better input, the better output, as they say. And the additional details, I might say, okay, in addition to that, I need to make sure it uses, API citations. It needs to include 2 peer-reviewed journal articles. And then I might say like what the rubric levels are. Is it excellent, proficient, needs improvement? Maybe you have certain ones that you use at your classroom or your institution or your school, your company, that you have different descriptors. So you can put that in there. Again, just have it do a lot of the stuff for you so you can do less editing afterwards. And then for me, sometimes when I do a rubric, it puts out like in a list, kind of like a checkbox. I'm like, no, I don't want a checkbox. I like the table rubric. I personally like the table rubric. So I say present the rubric in a table format with criteria as row headers and rating levels as column headers. And so when I put that in, I usually get a little bit better response in that one. So let me see if I can do this real quickly. We'll make sure my internet hopefully is working pretty decently. So I copied and pasted this because I'm sure you don't want to see me type this because I'm terrible at typing on webinars or in front of people. Like I think some people are. I don't know why. I get terrible typing and I feel like I'm being judged by how bad I'm typing. So I did a copy paste here, but this is the same prompt that I put in there. So instead of saying create a rubric for this three paragraph assignment, I put this in here. And usually it gives me something pretty decent. And what I'm thinking about is like, I'm not going to take it, and copy and paste it and call it, all right, done and done. Typically, I'll go in and tweak things how I like it. I might word things a little bit differently. I might see this and go, nah, I don't like that. I'm going to change this whole thing right here. Or I can go into my prompt and make it a little bit better. So here's my thing. I can just copy this table right here and I could paste it into a Word document, paste it into an LMS, for example. And now I have this nice kind of base rubric that I didn't have to create from start. Sometimes, you're working in a Microsoft Word table, you're working in Excel, and you're trying to like click on this cell and that cell, and you want to make the borders, and you try to put the borders, and they're too thick, or you don't, this border looks, the line looks thicker than this line. And so this way is a nice way that you can be any tech skill level, I think, and create this, copy it, paste it into Word, and now you have a good rubric either for your internal use or for it can be maybe student facing as well. So a lot of instructors really like creating this rubric as a first kind of step, pasting it in there, and then tweaking it out. And it's a little bit easier than having like that blank Excel document staring at you, and you're like, okay, I need to type introduction, main paragraph, conclusion, and type that in there. So I do like that in there as kind of a way to create some of that feedback. And I usually do give it a persona, give it what you need, add additional details, and specify the output format. So that's how a lot of instructors, different classrooms, different grade levels, different tech skills can really use ChatGPT with a little bit better prompt to create something really nice. And again, this is just for a rubric. Think about other ways that you can give a persona to it and have it maybe do something a little bit nicer. Can you start with a pre-formed rubric, thinking about value rubrics? Yeah, so you can depends on I guess it depends on your subscription level to ChatGPT, how well it does. I have a Plus account, so I can attach documents to my heart's content. And so sometimes I have a rubric that I want to improve, or I have one that's like the base one, and I can ask it to build off of one, edit this certain one. Or sometimes you could just copy and paste it in there and it recognizes the formatting for it, and I'll get you back. So you can definitely try, Melissa. That's a good question there if you want to start with the pre-form rubric. I like that one. The Plus account, Carrie, good one here. Let me go into my Plus account here. So the Plus account I like because I can pretty much always use it and I don't run into any issues. Let me see if I go to my account setting here. This is what it says. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. So ChatGPT Plus comes with, they call it advanced reasoning. It's like a deeper dive into it. And what you can do is instead of you saw a quick result, it did that rubric real fast. I can change it to kind of a deep thinking where it like takes its time. It's kind of like the friend, instead of just blurting it out, that friend who like sits back a little bit and thinks about it and gives you maybe a little bit better response. You can do the advanced reasoning with it. And it does expanding messages a little bit, so just a little bit extra. And I never run into like a block where like maybe in the middle of the school day, you goes, oh, this is too busy. I usually can generate photos, videos, any prompts I want, anytime I want. I don't run into any issues. So I pay a little bit extra just to get that extra service with it. But you can go in and take a look at the upgrade plan if you want to do. I have to go up to business, but this is the personal plan, and they have business plans and so on. And I did see at OSU they have Copilot and Gemini. So again, at the institutional level, you might be having the preferred types of ones. So like at OSU, they have a preference. They have a nice page that outlines, okay, we can use Adobe, for example. We can use Microsoft Copilot. We can use Google and Google Gemini, and we'll cover a little bit about that here. So that is dictated back to that institutional level of what you can or cannot use. So again, I always say, preface, like, check your institutional level, check what you're allowed to do, because sometimes it's going to be a little bit different. Even though I'm using ChatGPT, you can use Perplexity, you can use Copilot. A lot of different ones will bring the same type of results. Like an improved prompt is going to bring improved results typically. So that's that one. And what we also found on the other end of the spectrum, I'll just cover this real quickly here, is that you might have a co-assessor with it. So when I'm grading papers, what I do is for my sake, I feel better. I strip out all the student information. So the ChatGPT, I'm not sharing student information, but I can copy the papers or parts of the paper into what I'm assessing, and I give ChatGPT a prompt that says, your experience co-assessor for reflection assignments, and I just give it all the information that I want that talks about assessing the paper and how I want you to assess it to the rubric. And what I like to do is it kind of makes me go, oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize that. If I have something that's way off from what ChatGPT gives back, I kind of double check to make sure I'm looking at what I'm supposed to be looking at. Or sometimes it catches something, I go, oh, that's interesting. I didn't. And so it's like almost having like a teaching assistant for me, or like a coworker sitting beside me and grading those papers too, and making me honest a little bit. Again, I'm not saying ChatGPT grade all these papers. I'm going to go in the back and catch up on some binge watching on Netflix. I'm actually sitting there. I'm grading it myself. I'm assessing it myself, but I'm using ChatGPT as like a partner in crime to get my workflow done. And again, so I can keep me honest from student 1 to student 30 in my case. So I like that one. Let me see if I can get that one and see what that looks like real quickly here, just so you can kind of see how it performs. I'll do a new chat here. Let me push that off to the side. Again, I just pasted that whole thing in there that just basically says, you're an assessor. I want you to assess some work. And at the end, I put, let me know when you're ready for the first submission, because I'm gonna hit enter, and it tells me it's ready. And then I have a pre-made, just a generic paper that I'm going to paste in here. Just that it's about the reflection on the Buckeye tree. I just created in another chat program or a AI program. And so, say if this was a student one, it would submit it and it would tell me the strengths, the improvements, and it had main paragraphs here. So I have this up, it's running, and at this time right now, I'll be reviewing that student's work, and hopefully I can find the similar things, or maybe I found something even more. I'm a more harsh grader than ChatGPT is, but it kind of gives me the checks and stuff too. So I kind of like having that extra check just to make me feel a little bit better that I am on the same page. So I like having all this stuff here. I know some faculty members, this might just give you the idea of what to write too, because the hardest or the easiest thing to do is like, okay, you got a 87 out of 100 next. But I like to give feedback, in particular feedback too. So I always like to, have my ChatGPT say, here's some improvements that it can make, and I kind of keep that in mind. So as I'm writing my notes or I'm doing my assessments, I'm kind of looking over the shoulder here and going, oh yeah, that's a good way to say that. Or I might say that, I know what they mean. I'm going to say it my way because I know the student, takes feedback pretty harshly. So I'm going to write it in a little bit different way than I would. And so again, I put that human touch onto it. I'm not just relying on ChatGPT to grade all my papers for me. I'm using it as a coworker, as a co-collaborator as I go into it. So yeah, Rob, still in the driver's seat. I like that. I'm still in the driver's seat. So again, I'm making sure, for me, I make sure I scrub the names off the papers. There's no identifying marks into it. I would say for me, because I'm just hyper focused on this type of stuff, I go into the file, into the meta settings where you can see like the info where it says written by. If I sent you a Word file, it might say written by David Grimes. I delete all that stuff out because I just don't want any of my student information getting out there. Or I can copy and paste. So sometimes I can copy and paste. I'll just copy that whole thing like I just did there, made sure there was no identifying marks. It didn't say by David Grimes or by, Jane Smith or anything like that. It just was that paper. There's no identifying marks. And then I got that one. Again, like in the driver's seat, this person's my passenger. And me and ChatGPT or Copilot or Perplexity, we're going through and doing some cool work, and it makes me feel a little bit better. Hopefully it's a good way to do it. 165 students, Kathy, and yes, it does help. Again, I always feel like my student, I don't know if my student at the very end is better or worse if I don't use ChatGPT sometimes, or if how things are going. So I like that. It keeps me honest, and it really finds the things. And again, sometimes I go, oh, that's interesting. And maybe ChatGPT was wrong a little bit. It thought it was wrong. I think it's okay. But again, I'm in the driver's seat, so I said, it's okay, don't worry about it. But I see something else that it sees. I go, oh yeah, that's a good thing to pick up. So I really like that. A bonus on that one, which I thought was nice, what was shared with me, is that I have a faculty member after this submission. So like I do all these submissions here. I do maybe the next one. I do hopefully not 165. I do my 30, or I do 10, or however many you want to grade. I say after it writes it, I go, analyze all the submissions and note any trends or common issues where student missed points. Then I have ChatGPT or whatever AI thing write a email or an announcement. And that's my draft because I just want to get that draft in there because after I grade it, I want to follow up either with maybe a short video lecture or recording. It's an email. It's an announcement in my LMS that says, hey, everybody did really great, but there was this one issue where everybody was doing this, and maybe ChatGPT wrote that for me. And the way to overcome this is this. And again, I'll go in and I'll tweak it because I'll put it in my own words and I'll expand or make it a little bit shorter. But I like having that not blank screen in front of my face. I like having like that first draft there written for me, and I go and tweak it. And that way I have that. And what I do is I start saving those because sometimes when I teach the class again, I get similar results. And I'll either tweak the assignment or I'll go in and I'll have some of these as templated emails that I can kind of copy 80% of it and tweak the other 20% of it. Are you uploading papers individually as a group of documents? I do it individually just because I like doing stuff step by step. My trust is kind of in the middle, I guess, for GPT is until I get better used to it and feel like it does a great job most of the time. I'll do it one by one. It just makes me feel better to go in and go, okay, David, I got David's, now I got Susie's, I got, Carolyn's, I got Aurora's, and I got, so-and-so's, all their papers one by one. Rob, you can try doing a bunch of different ones. You can upload zip files, and I know I've done that before. For me, I only have 30, so that's about okay. I think if I had any more, I might try to experiment more with doing bulk uploads and stuff. But you can do different types of uploads, whether it's a document, a zip file, and stuff like that. So just, I would say experiment if you can. I tried to experiment. Again, I just created that Buckeye tree one just, off the top of my head in ChatGPT. You can have it create 10 of them and just do like a mock, analysis on these assignments. I like doing that first before I use my student data, real student data. I might just try to make some fake ones and go, okay, I'm going to upload 10, analyze these 10. What I realize if in ChatGPT especially is that if I use it too long, it gets like dumber or worse as I go in my chat. So if I go in the chat and I do things and I'm in there for like an hour and I'm really going, sometimes it messes up. Like it goes, and my fellow instructional designer here has seen the same thing where it like doesn't go off the rubric anymore. It's like I'm like, where are you getting these the criteria at? And it confuses itself. So sometimes going too long into it, I have seen it degrade a little bit. So keep an eye on it if you're in there and you do have a lot of students or you're doing a lot of things. Keep an eye and go, what was that? What was that? What was that assessment? Sometimes it's just getting confused because it's referring to something maybe different. It's referring to a document that was uploaded before, or sometimes it just goes off the rails. I don't know. I don't understand why, but sometimes it does that. And again, it's done me. It's done to my person across the wall over there too. So it's been quite interesting as we go through it. All right, I want to jump into the next part here real quick, and this is the repurposing content. I really like this one, and I'm going to jump into one of my classes that I helped develop. So this is not my class. He said it was okay to use it. So this is Dr. Hinkle here. I'm going to just hit play real quick here, and I'm not going to put him on. Let me just find a good spot. So Dr. Hinkle, we went in and we recorded his video here, and you'll see, I'm going to put up a little side here. So you'll see that we have the transcripts. We are in we're in Blackboard. We have Kaltura, and Kaltura automatically creates transcriptions. It's pretty decent, I think. It does a decent enough job. Sometimes we'll have to go in and tweak it if it's a class that has a lot of jargon and stuff into it. But we have the transcript, and what we like doing was taking the transcript. I would download the transcript, so I can download that current transcript. And then what I can do is I can go into ChatGPT now, and I'm not going to open up a new one, but we'll see if we can just add this one here. And I'm not going to write the whole long one because I don't want to bore you to death. So I'll put create a blog article based on the lecture transcript. Again, I would do this a little bit better if I was really designing the class, but for our intents and purposes, I just want you to do that. And so what we've done is not any more work really. It's just that took, 4 seconds to do. And now I have a nice blog article for students that maybe they can watch the video, but now on all of Dr. Hinkle's videos, they have this kind of, I call it the video recap. And they go through and they can recap these videos in text-based format. So some of our students like to read it first, then watch it. They'll either watch it, then they'll read it, or they watch it and then they do the assignment. They go, I don't understand that. And they go, okay, oh yeah, okay. Accumulating costs. This is like keeping track of all the costs incurred with an organization. So they see these different parts here, which is a little bit easier finding it here than it is trying to scrub through this video and going like, where did he talk about that part at? And you're trying to go through and figure out like where he's talking about it. So our students like this video video recap text-based version that we can do. We also put in there, create a summary, and we create a little summary of it. And this was enhanced from just dumping in the video. Before we would just dump in the video, like, okay, here's the video lecture. Students know what to do. They know what to watch. But we kind of bolstered the lecture page a little bit by having kind of like the sneak preview or the summary, having the actual video, and then having this blog underneath, kind of the text-based version of the video. And so now our students can go in and get a lot of great information in whatever medium they prefer, or in all of it if they want to do all of it. And it really was not too much more work for the instructional designer or the instructor to create this this page. So this page is almost the same amount of time as it would just to like dump in the video. It took, I went in and I created this. Now, of course, I would put this in there for him. And then I would say, hey, Dr. Hinkle, can you go in and like make sure this is correct? Because I'm not the managerial accountant at all. So it looks fine in my naive eyes, but he would go in and tweak it. So I like him going in and tweaking it. And again, it's not just the AI by itself. There's always that human touch that we put in there. And that's real important. We always have that human touch. For me, I try to do as best I can, but then I have him as the expert do at the very end and make sure it is, edited a little bit so it's in his words and it makes sense. So like I mistakenly put something that wasn't correct. So we are very, very particular about making sure it has all the correct information in there. So I like that as starting with the lecture, I get the summary preview maybe, and I can create that blog article just from the transcripts. So again, one transcript creates all this different things. So I want to ask you, just as a reflect upon it, what can you repurpose maybe in your class to give a different version of that lesson or of that media? Because I think it could help students. And really, that's no skin off your back, because before AI, it'd be like, hey, Dr. Hinkle, can you, after you do this lecture with me, after I record you, extra in the classroom, can you like maybe spend some time and write me a nice article about about your lecture? Or can you write me a summary? And he might just be like, David, the door is right there, get out of here, because like he's not time. Remember we do a me. He's one of those me's. He's on boards, he's on committees, he's teaching, he's doing research, he's doing all this crazy stuff. And it just be really hard for it to do. But for now, I go, hey, do you have like 5 or 10 minutes just to look at the blog article? I'd really appreciate it. And he does every time. So this has been really nice to reuse some of that content. So I challenge you to see what you can reuse, maybe in similar fashion, especially the transcripts are super nice. Reuse a slide deck, PowerPoint slide deck, a Google slide deck, and put it into a blog article. Reuse it as an FAQ. What are the FAQs? What are some stumbling points that a student who is an underclassman starting out in managerial accounting would run into in this lecture? And then reuse that. Now we have an FAQ on this lecture, so there's an FAQ afterwards. So there's all kinds of neat things that we can do by not just creating more work for ourselves. It's just a little bit extra with AI's help. So I really like repurposing content right here in the middle at part 3. Useful to pull and highlight key vocab. Yes, for English language learners. That's perfect, Meredith. I like that one too. So yeah, so again, hopefully you can do that a little bit faster with AI. The next one here is part 4, is building AI fluency. And this one is basically just going in and not like making AI the big bad wolf and not talking about it, but really policing it and hitting students with that stick instead of the carrot and going, okay, you fail, you get a 0 for this one. What we like to see is introducing AI into the students' maybe everyday work in some form or fashion. Right now, we don't have like the AI fluency class that OSU has at the moment, but we are looking to make key parts in the student's academic journey have either an AI class or empower our faculty members to implement AI types of activities in there. And we do have some champions already going in there. One I thought was really nice was one person who's actually the dean over at the College of Business. He has a class that he teaches too, and he is recording presentations. The students are recording their own presentations. So they do what we're doing right now, hit record it, and they can get their transcripts, kind of similar to what I've done, I showed before, and they use ChatGPT for feedback. So ChatGPT is like that tutor, that first wave of feedback. But then you go back and you can reflect and discuss it with your peers, with the instructor, with the person in the class, and see if AI is giving you great advice or not giving you great advice. So it's a way to see what we look at as like, is this good information that AI is giving me, or is there some things I look out for? So they're really analyzing not only their own speeches based on the transcripts, but they're also analyzing how well AI can be maybe a tutor or that line of tutoring, which I think is really cool. In the same kind of way, we have students in English classes. They might have professor might analyze their AI generated papers, and then they go through and basically assess that AI paper. Is it a good one? Is it a bad one? And again, you have that prompt. You can make it. Again, you are a student who is struggling with learning, XYZ English concepts. Write a paper, blah, and you could send that out, and you got that paper. You are a student who loves English, and you ace everything. You fully understand this. Here's a paper, and students go through and see if they can identify, did AI give it, or just do a generic one. Write a paper about the Buckeye tree, enter, and see what students think about that one. And what they do is they're looking at that grammar. They're getting that antenna up, like we were getting our antenna up earlier, and seeing what AI looks like as it's writing it, and really seeing, is it really good? Because what your English teacher will probably say, it is not really good. And so we can show them why. And so it's like the proof is in the pudding, and they're seeing it firsthand, not just be like, oh, because Mr. Grimes said so, and they're like, whatever. They actually seen it, they're working on it, their blood, sweat, and tears are in this project. And so they have a little bit more ownership, hits them a little bit more in the brain and the heart when they see these papers that are generated by AI, and they're the ones assessing it. So I really like those ones. Those are just two little kind of things that are happening right now, and I want to see what the students think about that first one, 'cause that's happening at this current moment. So anyone else integrating AI fluency in their classrooms, maybe in a different way? So I don't know. ChatGPT write example discussions based on my lab instructions and how do my students analyze them. That's perfect. Yes. I have some similar to that too. So again, think of that one. So again, Joanne, thank you so much. Definitely check out the chat. A lot of great stuff still pouring in the chat. This is what I've done in my class. I have an MIS class, so I have some leeway in this one. This is more integration. I have more direct type of assignments. On the first day of my class, I asked them, I said, hey, tell me what you want to know about AI. And what we'll do is I'll sculpt this class, and we'll make sure we cover all the questions that you had by the end of the semester. And so I had students writing me like, I like to learn how it can help me and make my work stronger, not just give me the answer. I'm like, oh, that's nice, I want to improve my work, not do it all for me. I would like AI to learn. I want to learn how AI impacts careers. Again, they're looking forward, looking past, my class, looking past graduation, and they're wondering, do companies encourage AI usage or not? I'm like, that's a great question. Well, we'll see if we can get some people in the community to come in and maybe explain some stuff. Went to a good conference, the next conference over at the University of Akron. That's coming up in March, by the way. They got the Cleveland Cavaliers, Sherman Williams, some other people to come back and speak about how AI is influencing what they do now in their line of work. So it's really interesting. So that is happening. We all have these questions. Our students have these questions too. I want to learn how to leverage AI to assist me in anything productive. They just want to be more productive. They want to be more organized. They want to help them learn how to study. There's a lot of good stuff in it. So all my classes, I've done this twice already. And usually we see number one is they want to know how accurate it is and can you trust it and when to trust it. Then they want to know kind of what we did a little bit ago was like, how do I make good prompts? Like, how do I make AI work for me and give me good information so I'm not being misled? I don't get bad information. Mine's skewed a little bit, so they all want Microsoft help. We do a lot of Excel work in my class, so they want to know how ChatGPT and the likes can help them with Excel. Again, career relevance, even their freshman, sophomore, I have a lot of freshman, sophomore class, they're still thinking about the career, which is awesome. But they're thinking about, do I need to learn AI? What happens if I don't learn AI? Is that better or worse when I go out for a job? Do they, and so we're talking about that, and that's what is driving our meetings and our colleges and our departments and going like, how can we help these students who have these questions? And the last one is ethics and boundaries. When can I use it? Is it good if I do it this way? Again, they're not sure, they're unsure. So I want to make them a little bit more sure of themselves, a little more confident in using AI a little bit in my class. Make a little bit in my class, a little bit in another class, a little bit in another class. Hopefully they come out of here a little bit better, good or better stewards of AI, and that can actually help them in their careers and help whoever that company is. Writing support, studying how to subs, and actually how it works. What are some other ones I just put in the corner? Those were kind of like my big ones that are pretty consistent as I ask students in my classes. So what I do is I have bell ringer activities, exit tickets, entrance tickets, and so I can make these little dollops of assignments, and sometimes I can make it work into. We do accuracy and trust of websites and stuff, and now we just integrate an AI component into that lesson plan. So again, looking at where you can put in AI, whether it's a direct way, like how I've done it, or maybe where it's an integrated way, like some of my other colleagues have done it. All right, last but not least, and we're down here to our last 10 minutes. It goes by so fast, but I want to share some of the neat apps that we've used here at Ashland University and some that were shared with us. So one, I have to start with the good old-fashioned pencil and paper. I know that's not an app, but that has been a good, I think, a strategic way of ensuring our students are learning and understanding and applying what they should know. And so with AI being easily on our phones, on our computers, we want to make sure, they're not misusing it on purpose or accident, is that a lot of professors are now thinking about and have implemented either tests in person now. You come and do the test in person of maybe online. I know online was real nice and easy because you put it online, it automatically grades it for you. Or you can submit your paper, through the LMS, for example. Now you come in and you write that introduction paragraph in class, and you have to write it on paper, and then we analyze it and tweak it and reflect on it and so on. Then the next time we write the bodies, and then we do the conclusion, and then we do all this stuff in class. And that way you have a record of them doing it and they're actually flexing that muscle. They're not going, oh no, that thing's due tonight, here, I better just pound it through ChatGPT and get it finished. So yeah, Alexander, yeah, as a high school teacher, I do so much paper. I got so much paper and pencil. That's perfect. That's good because we want to keep that going in the future. It's a little bit tougher when you're doing pure online classes. We start implementing now, we have a lockdown browser, which kind of locks down all the applications. Not that they couldn't just pick up their phone and do it, but we have online proctoring. So we're exploring all these different avenues because, again, it's upon us for them to go out in the real world and have at least us and whatever your institution is giving us a good name as we go out there. So we're really striving to make sure they are learning the materials and comprehending it in a way. And so sometimes good old-fashioned pencil and paper works out really well. Now, with that said, sometimes, again, you can't always do good old-fashioned pencil and paper. So here is a paper that I wrote, and you'll see here this says, hello, this is me typing, because what we've also started doing now, instead of just submitting a Word document, we put stuff in Google Docs or Microsoft OneDrive, because there's a nice option at the very top here. This was called Last Edit. Last Edit 7 hours ago. You see me, I was doing it a little bit this morning during a break here. And what you can see is it says, this is all the stuff that I did today. But you can kind of see starting at 10:09, I wrote this, I wrote this, I wrote this. That looks legit. Look pretty far so far so good. David's writing his stuff. Looks like he's writing it in a way. And then at 10:14, it says, okay, I'm getting lazy now. And then the next timestamp you'll see is here, and it's like boom, and then all this stuff appears out of nowhere. That's a telltale sign that someone copied something and pasted something into the document. So using track changes or version history and having students submit like the URL for this. So I need to share this. I would share my link, paste it into the submission box. And now the instructor can see these versions as you go through and to go, okay, let's just check real quick. This looks good. Or like, this has a lot of M dashes. Let me take a look. And you're like, okay, he did fine. David's fine. And then all of a sudden, all this thing in green was added all at once at 10:17. There's no way I wrote that fast. Yep. So here's what I did. So in the earlier, we'll pretend this is a student submission. I opened up the student submission, and I'm in Google Docs at the moment. and you can go up to revision history. Yes, Rachel, thank you. So Chrome has an extension called revision history. So definitely check that out. The old fashioned way or the manual way is coming up here. You see the little clock with the backward arrow on it. I'm going to hover. It says last edit. If you click on it, it gives you a task pane on the right-hand side. And I'm going to expand the times and you can see all the times. So from 10:09 to 10:17 is when I did this assignment. And I'll see that's what I wrote. That's the new stuff I wrote in green. That's a new row. I look, okay, now I'm getting lazy. I'm going to go to ChatGPT and get a response directly and paste in here. Be right back. And 3 minutes later, I actually did what I did. And so you can kind of see again, like boom, all of a sudden. But we're very transparent and very upfront of going, hey, don't like quote unquote work in another document and paste it into this document here. This is the document this is your working document for this assignment. Submit this, at the very beginning, and we'll write our introduction, we'll write our body paragraphs, we'll write the conclusion, we'll do APA style, all in this one document. So that's revision history. Whether it's a Chrome browser, thank you, chat. You got coming in clutch all the time. Or if you're going into Microsoft OneDrive, it's real similar thing that you can go on and check out, your docs. Anybody in the chat use Notebook LM? I'm hoping we have some Notebook LM users. I love Notebook LM. It is me. Yes, I do. Perfect. Yeah, I'll get the slides for you. Perfect. Yeah, I'll definitely save these slides. Notebook LM, if you've not been if you've been to it, then you can help me out, sing its praises or maybe some faults that it has. But I can put in documents like the transcripts. I put in this lecture guide that me and the professor wrote, and it's about ABC costing again, or activity-based costing. And what it can do is it can create a briefing doc, which is a summary doc automatically for you. I can copy and paste that into the course. It can create these maps. I love maps because again, if you like visual stuff, if you're not quite understanding it, you can have these visuals and it kind of breaks down all these topics. Like how cool that is. I think it's pretty neat. I think this is I like shiny things, so I think this is pretty neat. I'll zoom out a little bit, and then you can download this picture. So I can download these different branching scenarios and save that into that class if I wanted to. So I love that stuff. The really cool thing, which let me see if I can get this in here, that I like seeing is we do these different types of podcasts. So you can create an audio overview podcast. And it sounds, I think, pretty good. So in that course, we did use podcasts to test it out. And we did have students who traveled from work or who commuted, and they liked, here's the deep dive podcast. I think sound should be played, but let's see if this works.
Okay, let's unpack this managerial accounting. Especially when you're staring down real business decisions, it can feel like, well, a lot.
It really can. Overwhelming sometimes.
But stick with us.
So that's the podcast. So it created that two-person podcast automatically, just based on the content. The new thing, if you've not done it before, is these kind of short video summaries now. So I have video summaries.
What if I told you there are hidden profits lurking in
Let me go up a little bit ahead. So now you have the kind of like these quick video
activity-based
recaps.
costing, or ABC? And it's a really simple but profound shift in thinking. It goes like this.
I'm going to say right there, but you can download that. Now I have video. So now I have his lecture. I can have the podcast. I can have a summary video that's kind of more text-based, not on him, but maybe more text. So a lot of great things we can do in Notebook LM. It's part of the Google Suite. So if you have Google, you probably already have it. So check that out on there. Academia.edu is making podcasts from papers. Yeah, so you'll see a lot of these different ones kind of doing the same thing. So you will maneuver, and that's what we've had to do. And that's why I have a lot of these things listed, is we're trying to find like that best program. And sometimes we have to use a couple. But I think Notebook LM has been clutch in a lot of places, because just like we can repurpose some things, I'm repurposing that transcript. I'm repurposing the notes, or a chapter reading. We have like an open source book that we use, and we can paste some of the clips in there. And now we have all these cool things that are in the class that we can use as a podcast. So now the student has something in addition to the lecture. And students have told this professor they kind of like the podcast because they're used to hearing it. They like the back and forth in addition to the standard lecture. So it's really nice. Summarizing research from 80 pages to 10. Yeah, it's great. So if you have some time, check out Notebook LM. I'm going to do two more real quickly here. One is Adobe Podcast, and Adobe Podcast just fixes audio. I love how it fixes audio because sometimes you have this audio and it's not coming in real clear. Adobe Podcast has a free version. It's you don't get as much you can do, but if you have a couple smaller lectures, you can put that in there. Really love those audio ways to do it. So use Adobe Podcast. Let's see, there's like a I'll do the original version. It's very quiet, and it was a backup version, and you put it in, and it sounds crisp, it's clear, a little bit deeper. It's really nice if you need to improve some audio. Sometimes we have really good content, but the audio was not great because it was recorded a couple years ago. We'll run it through Adobe Podcast and put it in. 11 Labs is really great too. I like 11 Labs because we'll create audio case studies. We'll create just different types of audio. We have different characters basically that we can choose from, these avatars. Edward.
The courage to start is the first step to succeed.
So we'll create these like audio types of activities where we go in, let me go to one right here. We call these ones behind the numbers is our clever naming for it. And then we have these people who are just these different avatars do a scenario where it's like a real world scenario based on ABC costing, for example. That's kind of nice. Thank you, Carrie. All right, so it's 5 o'clock. So that was the last ones for 11 Labs. 11 Labs, you can voice clone. So everything in this professor's class, when you go into the audio version, so for like accessibility, it's not a robotic voice. It's actually, this is not his real voice. This is
using
AI.
relevant financial information, a critical skill for any future manager. Through chapters 5 and 6, you'll
So everything in his class now is actually quote unquote Dr. Hinkle talking, but he didn't have to sit and record all this narration for me. We went in, he said I can clone his voice, and we've cloned his voice. So we have the Tim H voice
Conservatives
here.
appreciate the depth of time-honored customs.
That's just a generic thing. So again, lots of cool stuff, whether it's like pen and paper, if you're going to do text-based things, or even multimedia things, there's a lot of great things. Two to try out, Storm AI and Manus AI. That was by Dr. Lou Ludwig. He came up from Denison to visit us. And again, just like what we're doing right now, it's so nice that Dr. Ludwig came up and explored some things with us. We learned some new things from him. Hopefully we shared some things with him too. And again, I think we're a little bit better when we share these things in the chat or we attend these webinars like this to just kind of get a couple nuggets of information out there that we can possibly use. I'm 1 minute over, so I think I lost maybe $100 to our Alumni Society fund because Carrie's going to deduct it. So I will stop here. I will stick around though. If you want to stick around, I'll stick around as long as I can until they boot me out of here. And I'll answer any questions or follow up on anything that you need to follow up on. Otherwise, thank you so much for sharing your afternoon with me. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully, I'm going to go back in the chat because there's so many great things I saw in the chat. Again, the chat's the smartest one. The chat's the star of the show, I think. I'm just here doing my little thing, and chat has so many good things. So thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for joining us here. Alumni Society really appreciates you taking some time to join us, and go Bucks, of course.
Thank you, David.
Yep.
How do we do that if because we need to shut the Zoom so people can fill out the survey and